to you.
Brown and cream, and they'll be holding it up.
This fossil struck me in particular. At the time, I didn't know why, and it sat at home for about 2 days until I saw it in a certain light, and I could see the silhouette of what to me looked like the head of David, or a classical bust with the arms broken off. And from that moment, that's all I could see in it. So I wanted to use that outline, to use that silhouette, just to refer to history and art history and change, all kinds of things. So I thought it would make it quite vulnerable if it's propped on top of a spring, and it does move. They're very finely balanced. They're all very stable, but some of them almost balance as they are, even if they're not fixed. So I really tried to play into that. I didn't want to put anything too unnatural, like attached to the side of anything else. I'm always trying to assemble them as they kind of fit naturally together. Trying to walk the fine line between chaos and order. Yeah, the text is always very important to me. It was really important to have at least a couple of text pieces in the show. Like End Suffering, End Joy, it just popped into my head one day. It's probably safe to say I was going through a pretty hard time, but I remember thinking to myself one day, like, why do I have to suffer, you know? And I just kind of almost burst out laughing, and I was just like, because there'd be no joy. I actually heard a line in a song that said, I'm graveyard whistling, but I ain't under yet, and I just thought it was kind of just stuck with me, you know. I like to look at it as if there's like 3 layers of time in the piece, you know. So you've got the digital clock, the now, you've got the ancient millennia's old marble, and then you've got like an 18th or 19th century tool, essentially, like a work trolley. So I think it's interesting to take these 3 elements from different eras, different periods of time, mash them together. Well, I kind of looked at it like Shanghai meets, like, you know, modern day Shanghai meets Renaissance Rome meets like 18th century London, all smashed into one piece. I'm not looking for blocks that I can carve. I'm not trying to like do a technical carving, like a classical carving. So when I saw this stone, like, I just wanted it straight away. I'd never seen anything like it, and I knew I could do something simplistic with it, that just emphasizes the stone, that just lets the stone do the talking. Because actually, even when I was cutting this down into the arc shape, like, I actually even felt, I was really questioning myself if I was even doing the right thing by cutting these corners off, because I had to eat into the material, you know. I was like, am I actually doing the right thing, or am I just going to destroy it? But sometimes you just have to stick to your plan. So like, I decided to put a serrated edge on it just to give it some texture, and like, just to show it was hand done, so it's not so machine cut. More kind of like classical you know. I think this piece references classical history quite a bit, you know, with the idea of there being a place in the sky, you know, and the fact that it looks like the sky, but it's a piece of stone as well, cut into the shape of a window. It all kind of made sense. Like, that's the kind of little loop I try and look for, where you can see something is open-ended enough for people to take their own meaning, and then there's also a bit of a paradox in there as well. So that's kind of the main ingredients in all the pieces, I would say. And that's been the biggest benefit from the project, is finding like a whole network of people that I can work with. Basically, I can just pick up the phone and have like a blacksmith, welder, stone yard, engineering works. And when I started the project, I didn't know I'd need all these people to make the works what they are, but honestly, like, they just wouldn't be the same if I didn't have the expertise there. And a lot of it's very traditional expertise: metalwork, blacksmith, forge, welding, stonemasons, neon sign makers. So the materials and the techniques are definitely important to me to stay. I like to stick with the traditional styles of working. It just works for me. So the title of the show, Leaves Ground, can be read in multiple ways, and it's always something I'm interested with language. So I wanted to create, I wouldn't say confusion, but I definitely wanted it to be very open-ended. Like I say, I want people to come in, see the work, and then be able to relate it to their own lives and their own situation, and leave with their own opinions. So that all played into that sort of aim, I think. I noticed with that phrase that it could mean, that somebody leaves ground, or that leaves ground. And I just thought that was bizarre, that like the same two words can describe like completely opposite actions. That one's going up and one's going down, and that's why I stuck with it, because I think normally you might not notice something like that, but I just want people to see a phrase like that and have to do a double take and say, actually, Jesus, what does he mean here? So it's a way to bring attention to the subtleties of language, and also just for people to pay attention, and just because something says something, it's not necessarily what it means.